But if you haven't talked to an accountant yet, you would be surprised at how much of your brain space is actually scared to death of the IRS, you getting that letter or whatever. You may not think about it, you may not think you think about it, but there's all these things like holding you back, like, oh my gosh, I can't buy a house because I haven't done my tax, or I can't buy a car because I haven't done my tax, or what if the IRS catches me doing this? Like, you're always, every play you make is taunted by this fear that the IRS is going to catch you.
So I want to focus on one specific thing that you said, because I think this will help most of the entrepreneurs listening. I know more than half the entrepreneurs I know either don't file their taxes, or they're multiple years behind, or there's all that stuff. And that's a huge, huge pain point. So what would you say to them if somebody's listening to this interview and they're like, oh my God, that's me, I'm having all this anxiety right now? What would you say? Like, what are the steps? Like, put their mind at ease their anxiety a little bit, and let them know what to expect if they were to come in and talk to you. Because I think it's head in the sand, like, okay, I'm already 2 years behind. Screw it, I'm going to be 3 years behind.
Yeah. And then what's happening, so I see that all the time. And business owners don't realize, or a lot of them do, by the time they talk to me, they've realized how much this is crippling their business. But if you haven't talked to an accountant yet, you would be surprised at how much of your brain space is actually scared to death of the IRS, you getting that letter or whatever. You may not think about it, you may not think you think about it, but there's all these things like holding you back, like, oh my gosh, I can't buy a house because I haven't done my tax, or I can't buy a car because I haven't done my tax, or what if the IRS catches me doing this? Like, you're always, every play you make is taunted by this fear that the IRS is going to catch you. So I would say, do something. Do not just sit and like keep it piling up, because the IRS will catch you, and then you will be in a mess. Do you know who Myron Golden is?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I think I
know his story.
Bragging a little bit. So you know his story of he got audited, and his thing was like, I'm either going to pay the tax, or I'm going to just go and not make money for a year and do an offer and compromise. And he said that he chose to do an offer and compromise. And meaning,
explain what that is really quick.
So an offer and compromise is where you owe the IRS tons of money, and you can do an offer for the tax you owe. So like maybe you offer $5,000 to pay off $100,000 in debt. Well, the IRS makes you for a period of time have not made any money. So that's what he did. He just quit working, and then he did an offer and compromise. He thought that would be more beneficial. He's like, that's the worst mistake he ever made. That because he forgot when he became, got into Russell's Inner Circle and all that. Right before that was when he just did not make any money for a long time, and then he forgot how to make sales. Then he, got in this depression phase, and so I would say I would bite the bullet. Get the number. That's one thing. Like, a lot of you think the number is just compounding and you have no clue what it is. And if you would just get someone to do it for you. Another thing is, don't try to do it yourself. Like, I'll get on a call with people and they'll be like, I'll get this together, and it'll be 2 years and they'll call me again. I still ain't done it, but they need me to make them feel better again. So it's like a hit of dopamine or something to get them in momentum to feel like they're doing something, but they still haven't really done anything. So totally hand it off to someone else to do. We can go through all of your books for those years, all of your tax returns, everything. We can do every single bit of it for you. And you don't, like, a lot of people are like, we don't have any receipts, or we don't have this. We'll use bank statements. We'll get it done.
So let me ask you, because I think the thing that's going through most listeners' mind, if they're 3 years behind, they're like, one, that number is going to be huge. Mm-hmm. Two, what are you going to charge me? Because the reason that I have been behind is because cash flow, especially in COVID, for a lot of businesses has been tight. So how much does it cost?
It really depends on how big your business is. It just depends. I mean, it's like, I can't just give a price over
Sure.
Because you don't know. Like, I have one I'm doing right now. It's 3 businesses over 4 years. But they make they make a lot of money now. The problem is usually this doesn't become a problem in people's minds till they're making money. Usually, I mean, like now they're like, oh, now I got something to lose.
Well, of course.
That's usually whenever I get the call. Usually people are not calling me till they're like, now I got something to lose. Now I can lose my house. Now I can lose. They're not calling me whenever they're still making no money. They just aren't. So I don't know how that would, I know I get the call when people actually have started making money and they're like, okay, now I got to do something. And so now, and then they're like, okay, I don't care how much this costs, just do it.
I need
so it's going to be expensive. And if you have no money and you have no money to fix it, like, then you're like, what do I do? So then you have to DIY. Well, then you're never going to get it done unless you take 6 months off and try to go through it all.